Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal. And I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David. How you doing tonight?
Fantastic. Bruce, this is the best Oilers team I've seen in a long time. I haven't seen an Oilers team this good since they won the Stanley Cup. And this team is as good as some of those teams, sure. I believe. So it's exciting. It is high praise, but that's what I'm seeing on the ice. Mm-hmm. See, it's funny. You catch glimpses of it in the McDavid era, those moments, magic between Draisaitl and McDavid and through the years, and some other good play and some good team play. But it's not been until this recent streak that I've really been reminded of what it's like to watch a great hockey team. It's been a long time. And it's just a plethora of small things that great teams do that this team is finally doing. And it's fantastic to behold. So I'm just really enjoying this.
They're doing some things that the teams of the 80s didn't do. I mean, you'd have to search long and hard in the Oilers record book to find stretch of games where they gave in 6 goals in 7 games.
Fair enough. But they could shut it down on defense, that team in the playoffs.
Yeah, they certainly closed it up on defense.
They could do that at times, and this team.
Later in the 80s, right into 1990, they got better and better at that part.
They sure did, and it's interesting because that team, the 89-90 team that won the Cup, it was followed by 2 teams that made the Final Four.
Yeah,
and one of those teams had traded away Mark Messier. The hockey culture.
One of them traded away Yari Curry, and then the other one traded away Mark Messier.
The hockey culture that developed in terms of strong team play lasted for a couple seasons after their last Stanley Cup win, and they were a good team. And I remember, they came close to making the finals both years, and were very strong teams. Anyway, let's get to the present because people are bored by the past, except for us.
I'm not.
I know. I said except for us and a few of our friends.
But it's nice to be able to make straight, direct comparisons, much more than any other time that I can remember, David.
Oh yeah, Bruce. I have made those comparisons, but again, it's more been glimpses and moments where there was a reminder. The Oilers would come back and they'd score fabulous goals and make fabulous plays. But this is different. It's more based on the 1980s. Oilers weren't just defined by incredible scoring prowess, although they were defined by that more than, that was their prominent feature. They had a number of other things going for them, including like team toughness, an extremely tough hockey team, high hockey IQ, and great goaltending, an ability on special teams, including on the penalty kill, to really get it done and to clamp down on defense when needed. And my first good thing, this is our 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers. I'll just start it off because there's a segue here. It's the Bouchard goal. And what I've noticed on this streak is something that I did notice for the first time in the 1980-81 season with the Oilers. By the time they got to the playoffs and they beat the Montreal Canadiens in a very famous hockey series. I think it was 4 games. Was it 3 or 4 game series, that one?
In 81?
Yeah.
3 straight.
3 straight.
6-3, 3-1, and 6-2.
I asked the right guy. So in that series, Bruce, and I don't know if you recall this, but it just became so crystal clear to me all of a sudden that all the rest of the players had learned from Wayne Gretzky on the team. Oh, yeah. And all of a sudden, you saw every single player not throwing away the puck, but making high hockey IQ passing plays with the puck. I just remember seeing Matty Hagman on one play. Like suddenly he was like doing something that Matty Hagman hadn't done at the NHL level, at least consistently. He was just combining so well with his teammates, Messier and Anderson at that point. And the whole team was doing it. Players who normally would throw away the puck, wouldn't make a play with the puck, were making plays with the puck. And that's what this Oilers team is doing. All of these players up and down the lineup are now having the confidence and the drive and the inspiration, I think, from McDavid and Draisaitl to make plays with the puck. No one's throwing the puck away. No one's making very few bad passes that game, Bruce. The level of passing ability on this team has shot up through this year and has reached a high where they're all mimicking McDavid and Draisaitl. They can't do what those guys can do, but they can try to make a play, and they're doing it with a great deal of skill. And we saw that on the Bouchard goal, which of course was highlighted by a play by one of the Oilers superstars, Leon Draisaitl, who made an absolutely just a mind-blowing pass. But leading up to that, were three really good plays. Evander Kane hustling back to his to the neutral zone to gather up a loose pass, and immediately finding the right guy and immediately advancing it quickly. Passes it up to Ekholm, who takes it in. And then he makes a fantastic pass, a cross-ice diagonal pass to Yamamoto. Matthias Ekholm, we watched him in Nashville all those years. I don't know if he was passing like this then. If he was, I wonder why they traded him, because this guy is ripping it up with his passing here at Edmonton. He makes a fantastic pass. And then Connor Yamamoto does exactly the same thing, sending it back cross seam, kind of pulling his arms out to make the pass and turning his wrists and firing the pass over to Leon Draisaitl. Just another utterly outstanding pass in this combination. So three guys in a row. And then to top it off, Draisaitl's hard tap of a back pass, right, no look back pass, right to Bouchard in this slot, who has the gimme putt to put the puck in the net. And it was that play and in many others through the game, players like Warren Fogle and Derek Ryan, even Vincent Desharnais is getting it. They're all starting to move the puck smartly. There's an incredible high hockey IQ in terms of moving the puck on this team right now. And that's defining them in terms of being able to break down other teams consistently.
Yeah, and I mean, they've got it going on in a lot of different ways. So,
you're a good thing, Bruce.
Yeah, I'm going to go from tonight's game, and specifically, I'm going to go with the way Oilers came on and played properly in third period after getting through an early penalty, and taking back control, a game they kind of lost control of, to be honest. And It was, this is a big game for Oilers. This is their chance at first place, was to win this game, be it regulation or overtime, and hope for help from Seattle in beating Vegas in regulation, which would be the recipe for first place for Oilers. And at this moment, last I saw, it was 2-1 for Vegas in the third period. So Seattle needs to beat them in this period, not in any gimmick time. So it's not looking good. So we're probably playing the Kings on Monday. Anyway, the Oilers finally in the third got down to business. And because in the first period, at one point, the shots were at 11-3 for Edmonton. And the score was 2-0. And I was at this game, and I was joking with my seatmate that I said, for all the moaning we've been doing about Oilers' sloppy puck handling, they're out shooting the other guys 11-3, not bad. And then a few minutes later, it was 14-11 for San Jose. They got 11 shots on net in a row, and so we revisited our comments, and I guess we were right. They are playing sloppy. And it got to 26-17 for San Jose at one point, meaning they outshot Edmonton 23-6 for a long stretch of this game, which is not recent Oilers hockey, but the Oilers turned it around and outshot them 19-3 in the third, and really that was the direction of play. I was sitting down in the end. The Oilers were attacking, And they were just forechecking the crap out of and cycling the crap out of the puck down there. And the puck would just go along the boards, and the Oilers would just circle and circle and circle. And every 4 or 5 passes, I'd look up at the clock, and there'd be 10 seconds gone off of it. And they were just whiling away the time in San Jose territory. And every minute or so, they'd generate something towards the net, because they got 19 shots, and they finally got one. Reimer had a number of good saves, a couple of really good bounces, and finally that amazing yet another amazing pass by Draisaitl to Kane for the 5-2, and then we could breathe easier. I could, I'm all game. I think we just got to get this win. And when they made it 4-2, I started getting a little edgy. Just don't want to let it get away, and they didn't. They just cracked the whip.
Indeed, yeah, 9-1 in grade A shots in the third
with
for
the
the
2-goal
Oilers.
lead.
Yeah, and they got
That's
9 in a row.
Great.
But in the second period, the San Jose had kind of starting to had the majority of the grade A shots, and they had been outscored in that period, but had played well. Yeah, I just didn't want to see. I didn't want to see a close game, because I wanted to see San Jose give up and not try too hard and not injure anyone. Like Deharnay almost got hurt there.
Oh man.
Yeah,
that was a bad moment.
He seems like
right back.
He seems like he's okay. He's a tough guy.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce, my second good thing is McDavid's back check. It's late in the first period. I'm not sure if the score was 2-0 or 2-1 at that point, but he just comes charging back on an odd man rush, and as fast as he can skate, and lifts the stick of the player who's going to take the shot, and avoided a shot there. And McDavid's defensive game has consistently improved from the time he was a rookie, and he's gotten better and better and better. And he's actually been consistently, I would say he's been a consistently okay to good defensive center for the last 3 years in the NHL. To win the Stanley Cup with this team, facing the competition that the Oilers face, he has to be a great defensive center, and so does Leon Draisaitl does too.
Yep.
And this is hard, I think, for some people to hear, because when people have made the criticism, and Mark Spector of Sportsnet has often said this and gotten a lot of flack for it, but I think he's been right. He's been correct that for these Oilers to win, they need their best players also to be great defensive players, and it's not going to be enough to be the top scorers in the league. They're going to have to be dominant two-way players, both ends of the ice, leading the way in this regard. And it's just, you just can't stack a team enough, to have that kind of separation between other teams. Every player's got to give their all, both ends of the ice. Like the New York Islanders of the 1980s, another reference to that era. Like the Boston Bruins of this era. Like the Detroit Red Wings under Ken Holland for all those years. Great two-way hockey teams with players like Pavel Datsyuk and Henrik Zetterberg being fantastic attackers, but also just beasts in their own end. Same with Nicklas Lidstrom, who couldn't be beat. Like, he was just such an efficient defenseman. So that play is just another signifier of McDavid's determination on defense. And we've also been seeing it from Leon Draisaitl in the last month and a half or 2 months from Draisaitl. He was frankly weak on defense for the first half of the year. He's had his troubles for a number of years now, which is why his plus minus at even strength hasn't been great. He still has created far more on the attack at even strength than he ever gave up at his own end. That has to be made clear. But but if he's going on defense, and he is going to be going on defense in the playoffs, so is McDavid. This team, Bruce, that's huge. Just seeing McDavid play like that way, come back on the check. You just got to know on the bench how happy that makes everybody, especially the coach, but the teammates, all his teammates, just look at that and think, okay, that's the standard on this team. I have to meet it, and they do. they bloody well better meet that, because they can't score like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl.
Right. Right.
So
But you want, it's the 200-foot team that wins the cup.
it is now.
And the more 200-foot players you got, the better. I would say it's always been largely true. You got, and if you've got great offensive stars, they have skills that could be applied elsewhere on the ice. And I mean, they're not directly to defensive skills, but there's no reason why a great passer of the puck in the offensive zone can also be a great distributor of the puck out of the defensive zone. And of that, Leon Draisaitl is the master. And so that part of the game is, which we don't measure, but unless he coughs it up once in a while. But it's just a different, it's what you do when you've got the puck in the defensive zone is important as well. And your skill guys should be skill guys wherever, And so, but that one of McDavid, they showed a replay at the rink and during the intermission, and I was isolated on him, and like the guy who got the puck wasn't even in the screen, and McDavid overtook him. He was like 30 feet behind the guy, and he just took off, and the play was a little slow developing, and he was just able to get in and lift that guy's stick, and unreal. And I thought I was counting it up as a goal. Like I thought the guy had a clear shot to hit the net with it, and all of a sudden he didn't have the puck anymore.
Very nice.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. That's what Gretzky. That's what Gretzky's defensive specialty was: stick lifting and stealing of the puck, and he could do that in all three zones.
He certainly did. Bruce, what is your second good thing?
Yeah, you're not gonna give me enough numbers for all my numbers, so I got to hide them in the other comments. Connor McDavid, with his 153-point season. So if we go back 25 years, I'm just going to call this up, sorry, in NHL.com for all franchises, all skaters, but season by season. We have an amazing situation. Loading. Here we go. All-time best seasons in the last 25 years. Mm-hmm. Connor McDavid, 82 games, 64 goals, 89 assists, 153 points in 2022-23. Second, Leon Draisaitl, Edmonton, 52, 76, 128, also this season, tied with Nikita Kucherov, and one ahead of Jaromir Jagr and three ahead of Joe Thornton. I mean, there's some pretty darn good scorers on that list. And yet, here's Connor McDavid, 25 points clear of any other player in the last 25 years. Like, whoa, 25 points. More than anybody else in a quarter of a century. Now, that's a season. And the other amazing part about his season was in the last 62 games, David, he scored points in 59 of them. He got blanked 3 times in the last 3 quarters of the season, just consistent night after night, at least a point, often 2, and once in a while 3, 4, and just the statistical dominance. I mean, winning the scoring title by 25 puts him on the short list of biggest margins of victory. And he's got, a season for the ages here. And I wanted to recognize it with a good thing. It's a real good thing.
His play on the power play, just astonishing. Bruce, and they did, of course, in the end, set the record. Set the record for the most top power play efficiency. 32.4%, beating the 1977-78 Montreal Canadiens, who were at 31.9.
32.4. Yeah, I figured they just went 1 for 3 tonight, so that's just going to keep it where it is.
Yeah, and
it's like George Brett going 1 for 3.
That first power play goal was amazing. Oh God, Nugent Hopkins passed through the air to Draisaitl, and Draisaitl pounding it in. Those guys have reached. I don't know. Obviously, but there's never been a power play this good. Yeah, they just proved it. I mean, the way they work together, the way that they combine those, especially Nugent Hopkins and McDavid and Draisaitl. But Bouchard is, I think, really starting to fit in nicely, and with his shot, I think his shot is a bigger threat than Barry's shot, and this power play can get better. Is the thing. It could get better from where it's been, because they have that just a little bit more of an added weapon there. Bouchard, I think, can get it off quicker, a bit more accuracy, can score a bit more. So it's exciting.
Power play is a lot of its familiarity. I find that the best power play units are the ones that have had the same players for a number of years, and they really start to feel what each other's doing out there. And tonight the Oilers did something different that I don't remember seeing before, and that was the first power play. They had RNH camped out on the right half wall, which has been the home of Draisaitl and McDavid for all these years on the power play. One or the other of them's over there generally, and it's here's Nuge over there, and normally he's always been on the left side. And this year he's been creeping into the middle more, and tonight he actually lined up on the right side, and then they changed they rotated the look. But they've got so many tricks. It's like Louis Tiant adding a seventh pitch, right? Like, you don't know what's coming.
Well, he just changes up the sandpaper, and he's got that pitch. So Nugent Hopkins, of course, started his career playing the right dot on the power play. That's where he was setting up Eberle from all those for those great goals. I do believe so. He knows how to play there. It's his natural spot. It's just that it's two other guys' absolute killer spots to be in, especially Draisaitl. I mean, he's the man. All right, Bruce. Bad thing.
Yeah, I'm going to single out one little play, and it was a penalty by Vander Kane. And Kane had good moments in this game. He didn't handle the puck very good, but the only thing that I really didn't like was this penalty. And San Jose just scored with about 1 minute left in the second on the power play, or right at the end of the power play, to make it 4-2. And all of a sudden, that comfortable 2-goal lead wasn't quite so comfortable. And then they come out for the third period, having just basically given up a power play goal, and a little less breathing room. So like 10 seconds, 15 seconds into the third period, 18 seconds, Vander Kane. They called it cross-checking. He really just slashed the guy, and I was watching the play, and it was just away from the puck along the boards, and he had this exchange with some dude from San Jose, and he just decided to whack him one. And right away, I looked to see if the ref seen it. Sure enough, his hand was up in the air, and all I could say was, well, that is not a good penalty, Evander. And it's not very disciplined. And, you give up a goal at this time of the game on the next power play, and all of a sudden the third period is a lot bigger hill to climb. And, I mean, this is San Jose. You might get away with it. But this is just not the sort of thing you need to be doing, whoever the opposition is, and it'll hurt more when you do it against the wrong team and they score on you a big goal. So I like the toughness of Kane. I like the edge, frankly, of how he plays with, but solo trips to the penalty box, you want to keep those to a reasonable number.
Bruce, my bad thing is Vegas 3, Seattle 1.
Shoot.
37 seconds left in the game. So that's a tough way
37 years for us to finish first.
Yeah, that's a tough way to lose. It just if they just gotten one more win this season, a couple of loser points. But there we go. I don't really think it matters. Like,
it would a couple of loser points into winner points.
Yeah, I don't really like playing the Kings is fine. I was a lot more worried about the Kings before I saw the Oilers play them recently. Especially I just like last year, the Kings took it to the Oilers physically, and were the tougher team and the more physically dominant team. They will not be this year. And if they don't have that, well, we'll see what they have. They've got a better team this year than they had last year. They've improved their team as well. But
And
You
they
know,
got Doughty. They got Doughty back and
yeah,
Arvidsson, who both
Fiala,
missed the
Fiala,
series last year, and they added Fiala. Yeah.
yeah. I guess Landeskog's out for the playoffs. It was announced tonight, so one down for
Hmm.
Colorado. Um, so we'll see. I don't mind the Kings as a first round opponent. You got to beat lots of good teams to win the Stanley Cup, and
Got to
I
beat
don't see the
four good teams
Kings
to win the
four good
Stanley Cup.
teams, and I don't see the Kings as like a like the Broad Street Bullies of 1974, 75. Like they're not gonna, or 73, 74. They're not gonna. It's going to be a tough series, but I think the Oilers are at least as tough as the Kings. I think they're tougher. Bruce, your numero.
Oh, lots of good numbers tonight, David, but I dropped a couple of them already. But I'm going to go with 500, 800, and 27, which 800 is one number and 27 is a different one. And they're all related, kind of. 500, Zach Hyman played his 500th NHL game tonight. And a milestone for a guy who was sort of a sleeper in the draft and kind of came the overland route into the NHL, made it in his I think, was he 24 when he finally made it as a player? I should have had his thing up here already.
I'll find that
But
for you, Bruce.
yeah,
He,
and he
yeah.
went from Florida to Toronto, I believe it was, in a steal of a deal.
Yeah, he was drafted by Florida.
Hmm.
Did he get traded, or did he is it one of those things where he didn't sign with the team after 4 years of college? He was 23 at the start. He was 24 when he
Hmm.
debuted. You are correct.
Yeah, and now he's 30. And he's up to 500 NHL games, and about 490 of them have been uh, hard effort, two-way puck battling games. And they're very, very odd time. He has a night where you don't notice him, but that doesn't happen very darn often. And he's uh, a good man who's won a lot of friends since he came to Edmonton, and he was very popular in Toronto um, until he jumped town. You know.
He
So
not so
there's that.
popular.
But
Yeah,
anyway, congratulations to Derek Ryan, who made 500 NHL games tonight as well. Fitting for two teammates to make it on the very last night of the season. So they've made their target before the summer, and now they can carry on. But 500 games for Derek Ryan, uh, who uh, made it into the NHL about 2 months before he turned 30. Okay. So 30, that's what Ryan, so when he was the age that Ryan Nugent Hopkins is now, he was just making it into the
yeah,
NHL. So that's the 800. Ryan Nugent Hopkins has 800 games, which he achieved last game, and then he turned 30 yesterday. So he has 800 games before he even reached 30, whereas Derek Ryan had 27. And now he's all the way up to 500 at age 36. And my hat is off to you, Derek Ryan, former U Alberta Golden Bear, and uh, a long and varied trip across continents and countries and so on to make it to 500 NHL games and back in the same city where he played 4 years of college hockey. It's not like he was here for 1 year and then carried on. 4 years, U Alberta Golden Bears hockey, and he turned himself into a 500 game NHLer. Only Randy Gregg could lay claim to that before right now.
yeah. Anyone whose hockey story takes them through Kalamazoo has gone a long way to get to the NHL. Not just through Kalamazoo, but in 2011-12 when Nugent
Swiss League?
Hopkins
Uh-huh.
in 2011-12 when Nugent Hopkins was playing his first year in the NHL, um, Derek Ryan was the star forward for Zekish Ferivar Alba Volin Hockey Club of the Austrian League, where he would
Right,
go on to
okay.
play 3 more seasons, Bruce. Three
Yeah, yeah.
seasons in the Austrian League, then one league in the Swedish Hockey League. I'm not sure if that's the first or the second division. And then a
Oh,
full age
SHL.
first year, then a big year in the um, Charlotte Checkers, It was the year in the Swedish league that probably gave them that's when NHL teams thought, oh, they might have something here. Full year with the Charlotte Checkers in the AHL. And then he finally broke in the next season, 2016-17, with the Carolina Hurricanes. It is a remarkable achievement for Derek Ryan. And another one of these just super smart hockey players with the puck, without the puck on the Edmonton Oilers. I really admire the way he's played. If he continues this level of play in the playoffs, Bruce, he will have another season in the NHL. So not bad for someone his age.
He
Bruce,
played 3 seasons with Spokane Chiefs, age 18, 19, overage at age 20 to 21. And he never had so much as a point per game season in the WHA, even as an overager, when he scored 59 points in 72 games. And I mean, where do you find an NHLer out of that? I mean, that's Tyler Johnson, or it's Yanni Gourde, or some player like that.
Yeah, but
small and not necessarily super fast, but without the scoring. So whereas they got found at age 22, Ryan was almost 28 by the time he came over to the side of the pond and spent 1 year in the AHL. So just a truly remarkable career, and to reach 500 is a special milestone. Like, that is a career that's 6 full NHL seasons plus a little bit.
Did you describe all those numbers? There was a lot of them.
Well, that was a few of them.
Okay.
I'm not sure I got to the 9-game winning streak that Edmonton tied their all-time franchise record from 2000-01 tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, or the 14-0-1 that they finished the season on. You know, they lost that 1 point in overtime to Vegas, so it's a 2-point swing. And that's the difference between first place. They had to be perfect. They had to go 15-0-0, and they only went 14-0-1, and they missed first place. Unreal. I mean, what a fantastic charge.
That's that Kane play that he blew, eh? The Evander Kane play where he...
That's the one.
Let's forget it. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, no, and it's just individual moments, right? Low Tide, my friend Alan Low Tide Mitchell, he talks about this all the time. Individual moments as opposed to the grand flow of the, measurable statistics and stuff. That games are won in individual happenstances.
Well, that's one of the great theories of warfare, Bruce. I can't remember who said it, but it has been said that wars are sometimes decided in these individual moments on one battlefield by a few soldiers, and something happens that turns the tide and gets it flowing in one direction and changes everything within a battle.
Sometimes it's the actual tide that turns, right? Was it the Spanish Armada that invaded somewhere and they got fogged in and
I just heard a long Queen Elizabeth I did a very good job. She there's a number of tactical decisions and strategic decisions she made, Queen Elizabeth, to get the Spaniards fighting in her home ice, her home waters, which were far rougher than the Spanish were used to, and their boats were not equipped to fight in those heavy waters of the English Channel where the British ships were, and it proved to be decisive. And I think there was a foggy night where the British crept in and burned their ships, if I'm not mistaken. All right, my number, Bruce, is 13. So the Oilers had 13 players on their team this year who scored at least 10 goals. This includes Tyson Barrie, who's with Nashville, but scored 10 when he was with Edmonton. The last member of that club was Matthias Janmark, who scored twice tonight to get 10. So there's McDavid, Draisaitl, Nuge, Hyman, Kane, Ryan, Fogle, Nurse, Costin, McLeod, Janmark, Yamamoto, and Barrie. So I was curious about how often this had happened in the past, that there'd been a team that the Oilers had 13 guys who scored that many goals. It has happened 4 other times in 1991-92. That was one of the teams you mentioned earlier that went to the Final Four.
This is post-Gretzky, Curry, and Messier when they had to splinter the scoring out.
Yeah, the leaders on that team were Vinny Damphousse, Joe Murphy, and Craig Simpson. It happened in 85-86, the year that the Oilers lost in the playoffs in the first round at Calgary. Terrible things can happen to great teams in the playoffs, Bruce, and we have to keep this in mind. Curry, Anderson.
Single moment in time.
Yeah, Curry, Anderson, Gretzky, Coffey, and Messier were the big scorers on that team. It happened in 82, 83, where they also had 10 goal scorers. Gretzky, Anderson, Messier, Curry, Lindsman were the big goal scorers on that team. Bruce,
33 for Lindsman, that was that year?
Correct. Bonus if you can get Paul Coffey's number that year, Bruce.
Which year is that?
82, 83.
283. It was 96 points, wasn't it?
His goals.
Oh, his goals, 29. He had 229 goal seasons in a row, and then he started hitting 40.
That's astonishing, Bruce. Okay.
I studied that team, David. I majored in Edmonton Oilers of the 1980s.
I feel like there should be a blackboard behind you with numbers moving around right about now and going in strange and different combinations. All right. But there was one team, Bruce, that had 14 guys who scored at least 10 goals on Oilers. And this is a very interesting team. It's the team that I referenced at the top of the podcast as being the first team that I noticed suddenly took on the demeanor and the style of play of its best player, Wayne Gretzky. This is the 1980-81 Oilers. And they had 14 players who scored 10 or more goals. Now, and this wasn't a team like the great 80s teams where there'd be like usually 5 guys who had like 40 or more goals. This is a team where only one guy scored more than 50. Gretzky scored 55, and the next highest goal scorer was Jari Kurri with 32. Anderson had 30, Callaghan 25, Messier 23, Hagman 20, BJ McDonald 19 before he got traded, Siltanen 17, Fogelin 13, Dave Hunter 12, Stan Weir 12, Dave Semenko 11, and Donnie Murdoch and Kevin Lowe 10 each. So that's a lot of names from to bring up a lot of memories for people like you and I. And it was a joy to watch that team come together and beat the Montreal Canadiens and challenge the New York Islanders as well in the next round in a really exciting hockey series. So this Oilers team has that kind of scoring depth. It's got top scoring of, between those McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent, Hyman, Kane, and now Evan Bouchard. I think it's got top scoring that's coming close to what we saw in the mid-'80s, those mid-'80s teams. See what the goaltending's like.
Yeah. They wound up with 2 40-point D-men in Nurse and Bouchard, and that's after trading away Barry. And, of course, they got Ekholm for Barry, and Ekholm scored at a 55-point rate.
Yeah.
So you could say you've got 3 40-point caliber defensemen back there and not be wrong. And so they
what did Bouchard score at after the Barry trade? He's almost
a point a game.
Yeah.
18 and 20 or 19 and 21, something like that. Anyway, he was right there. But David, tonight, the 12 Oilers forwards who played in this game all finished the season with double-digit goals. Because, of course, Bjugstad came to town with 13 already, so he's a 17-goal scorer. And Janmark's the 10-goal man. Every forward who played tonight, 12 out of 12, all scored 10 goals this year. I bet you'd have to look long and hard to find too many examples of that happening.
It's exciting, Bruce. It's exciting. It's exciting. We'll see what happens. I mean, as we know, we just mentioned the 85-86 Oilers, a fantastic hockey team that lost in the first round of the Calgary Flames on
second.
And was it the second round?
Yep. Swept Vancouver first, and then.
Oh, I forgot that. I thought it was the first round. Anyway, lost
the Smythe Division final.
Lost. I think in 7 games to the Flames, and it was brutal. But this, nothing's guaranteed for this team at all. Of course, this team's, there's lots of good hockey teams in these playoffs. There's the Avs, who are a fantastic hockey team. There's the Vegas Golden Knights, and Seattle and LA can be tough teams. And Dallas Stars had a great season. There's lots of teams that can give the Oilers trouble here. But the Oilers can bring the trouble.
They
can reign the pain.
I'll say, there's 7 100-point teams in the playoffs in the West.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
and the 8th place team, that's Winnipeg with 95 points. But Edmonton's second in the conference with 109, behind, of course, Las Vegas, who now officially with 111. And in the East, there was 4 teams that were just over 110. Well, 3 that were just over 110, then Boston with a ridiculous 135. And they just ran away with it. But even from sort of second half of the season, the Oilers were level or a bit better than Boston. But it was just the first half where Boston was, I mean, they were great in both halves. 65 wins. But so, here's another number. This is 29. That's the number of wins for Stu Skinner this year, breaking the 41-year-old Edmonton Oilers franchise record held by Hall of Famer Grant Fuhr, who won 28 games as a runner-up for the Calder Trophy behind the great Dale Hawerchuk back then. Well, Stu Skinner has really made an impact on this team. He was really strong in this game as well. And Oilers got a live one there. Finally, they drafted a goalie.
914 save percentage. I mean, David Dubnyk was a good goalie, but it didn't pan out. So Skinner, he's just such a calm. He's just very calm, and he's showing it again. Showed it again this game. He's calm and he's great on that first shot. So, he looks like we've been seeing him now 2 years in the NHL, and he was very promising last year, and this year has just been consistently good. So, he had one bad streak there, I think, but he's been really strong closing out the season, strong early in the season. So, and Campbell even played better towards the end. So we'll see. Well, Bruce, let's leave it there. And maybe we'll get together on the weekend to do a little playoff preview. We'll see if we have time or not. But they are going to be playing the Kings Monday.
Sounds like they're going to be playing Monday. I got a clash, but I will have to figure something out. I'm attending a memorial service online for a friend. That's Monday night, and I'm not going to miss it, but I'm just going to have to find a way to catch up on the hockey game.
All right. So, we'll figure it out.
But yeah, we'll figure that out, and we will get excited about the playoffs now. But this, I'll just leave it with this. This was a great regular season for Edmonton Oilers. 109 points. Their most since 1985-86. Different rules, of course, but they didn't really take advantage of the 3-point rule, right? Because I mean, man, if they just won 2 of their 4 shootouts, they'd be in first place. Anyway, but so much, and the team so clearly got better and better and better, and really blossomed after the big trade deadline, and played like a powerhouse for the last, it's been more than a month since they lost a game in regulation time. And this is a team to get excited about.
And we are. Bruce, thanks for talking tonight.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.